Hi guys, it is Kari here with Kari's Corner, and welcome to episode 2. I feel like, one, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been openly, supportive and kind of excited about this journey. I know for some of you this is very familiar, just a new platform, new medium, and for others of you this is kind of new. So I don't know, it's kind of a joy to be able to take everyone along with me who's willing to come. And yeah, this is episode 2. This is Kari's Corner, the podcast. Incredible feeling. I just wanted to touch base, kind of do a more quote unquote formal introduction, because I know I just kind of posted an episode. I was like, oh, hey guys, by the way, podcast that dropped, episodes right here. Yeah, go listen. So I know I probably did that a little out of order, but I wanted to kind of take a step back and kind of do a formal introduction and just take a pulse on how we are. I don't really know, before I start, I don't really know how the structure of these episodes will be. I know I have an intended vision of what they look like, sound like, feel like, but just we're still navigating through that and just trying to give myself enough grace as I personally take this journey, because I know that I may have to shift or pivot. So a lot of these episodes, what I understand within my own vision, will kind of be free form. I definitely want to have other people and guests come and chat. There may be video components to some of these episodes. But I wanted to allow kind of myself the freedom to be able to just set out and carve out space and time to be able to spend with you. And I kind of didn't want to put necessarily limits on there. So again, I don't know, with the episodes being freeform, there are going to be some long episodes and there are going to be some really short episodes, like episode 1, very short for I feel like the length of a podcast episode. But yeah, that's kind of my disclaimer, if anything else. But it is February 1st. It is Saturday, February 1st here. And I just kind of wanted to do a pulse check and just ask you how you are. We finally made it past the first 500 days of 2025. January felt like it was 5 ever long, and it always is. But we have finally moved into February. We're still in quarter 1, kind of in the middle of quarter 1. It is officially Black History Month. Let Trump say it's DEI month. All the months are going to be DEI months that we recognize people groups. But, how are you? I feel like, our new administration has been going crazy, insane, and they've only been in office for less than a month. We've kind of been talking about how long January is and, how exhausted we are from this new administration. It's absolutely bonkers, because I have so many friends who are affected by this new administration, whether it's grants and funding for their nonprofits, for friends who are trans, who are having issues in getting passports right now. And I know that travel is a big deal. We have the American Airlines plane that went down because it collided mid-air in DC over the Potomac with a Black Hawk. And I'll just take a moment just to say my thoughts and prayers are definitely with the families of those who passed. I have so many friends in the aviation industry working in various capacities, and I think that we take it for granted how just coming home, just being able to come home, see your loved ones, tell your friends, oh yeah, I made it back. We have apps where we get to track each other's flights, and I get notifications when a couple of my friends land back in the city, or if they take off. Like, we have each other as Sims. We have each other's locations and stuff, so I'm able to see, when it has them at the airport and it's like airport, or MSP, last online 45 minutes ago, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're in the air. They're in the air headed somewhere. But I've been on 8 trips in the last year, 2 of those being international. And while there have been some hiccups on the way, I've never really truly had to worry about my safety and whether I was going to make it home or not. And I don't really question if my friends are going to make it home or not. And I would be devastated, if something like that were to happen, to the people I hold dear. So this one just goes out to everyone who works in aviation, whether you are below wing, above wing, on the ground, ops, in flight, crew, whatever. I just see a lot of my FA friends just, you kind of have to go to work the next day. It's still affecting everyone. And then 2, I just woke up today, and apparently last night or yesterday, there's a small plane crash in Philly. And I could be wrong, but there's 6 confirmed deceased from that accident. So I don't know what is going on. I think that a lot is happening. And, again, Michelle Obama made a speech on the campaign trail in Detroit and just talked about how if this new administration would come to pass, that many people's lives, many American lives, would be affected on a very personal level. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that kind of across the board. I had a friend who worked in medicine on a very high level, worked in the federal government, and did some really amazing work. And then was pretty much like laid off, and with all of these, like, shit being wiped from the CDC website. And I mean, it's incredibly scary. And I personally wish I could force literally every American to watch The Handmaid's Tale. As rough as it is, season 1 is just, I think, in a way, just morbid, because I think it's the first time that we've had seen something like that on television streaming. And I think that seasons 2, seasons 3, I think that we're in season 4. Y'all, I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen Serena Joy in June on my screens. But there is a scene, I feel like there are scenes in the latter seasons that kind of, they go to DC and they kind of show you kind of the world, the state that the U.S. is in. And I think the scary part about when you're looking at the politics of The Handmaid's Tale is that you don't really know where we are at in the timeline. I think that they purposefully don't tell you what year it is. But I think it's eerie because it looks modern. It doesn't look like it's way off into the future. It doesn't look like it happened way in the past. It looks like it could happen today. It looks very parallel to today's world. So I often joke to myself that where we're currently at in the timeline are the events that led up to The Handmaid's Tale. The things that they don't really talk about in the show, but I feel like we're in the precursor to that kind of like living. And I hate to be kind of like an alarmist or a conspiracy theorist, but it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy right now. And I think that it's mind blowing to see so many people around me affected. And I feel like, and who knows? I mean, I'm not married. I'm not in a gay marriage, but I feel like I also have to understand, I have friends who are trans who are really struggling with getting documents. And even as a gay male, like, I kind of also have to understand that I still have certain privileges. Like, I'm not trans, and I know that, not to say that being gay is better than being trans, but I think in the world of like LGBT politics and activism, I feel like a lot of gay people don't realize that they have had the privilege, and we've been fighting for decades on this. This goes all the way back to Stonewall, I guess. But we have moved so far and moved the needle so far that a lot of gay people, queer people, have been able to walk through the door. And I don't think that some of us realize that some of our other queer counterparts, like people who are trans, male and female, intersex and non-binary, they are still fighting for their rights. They're still fighting for their right to be like seen and not minimalized and marginalized. And so I think that I've become more aware, especially being here in Minneapolis, that there's still work to do for other queer people to be seen as human. I think that now we're in a part of the timeline where people maybe aren't as adverse to same-sex relationships and same-sex marriages. They still have their beliefs, but I think that a good bit of the country has had to swallow that pill in a way. And they know that's kind of not going anywhere, but I think that trans need into bathrooms and y'all, it's crazy. And it is like humbling to me to see so many people around me, whether they're in aviation, whether they're in health and medicine, whether they're in nonprofits and law and queer visibility and shoot, even property management. Like, there's some stuff that's come down from the federal government that it affects homeowner associations, which is kind of the first time really that something has come down from the feds about how homeowners live and operate, which is kind of wild. There's been a lot of back and forth and injunctions on that little bit of legislation, and we'll see how that turns out. But I say all of that to say or ask, inquire, how are you doing and how are you faring? I know that we probably made goals. I know that we probably have tried to chart a path forward for 2025 and what we're going to do. But I encourage you to not completely check out. I think that a part of the strategy right now from the government, in a way, is to overload the system, is to system overload, overstimulation, if that makes sense, because it's so hard, because so many things and so many different departments are being affected right now. And so it's hard for the collective to focus on any one issue. Obviously, we're all different people, so there are certain issues that matter to us more than others. And I think that's good in a way. So that way that can be crusaders on all fronts, if you will. But it's hard for us as the collective to be able to really like get a handle on everything or to fight back. Cause it's like, okay, well, where do I even start? Where do I even start? There's so much going on and it's happening very quickly. This new administration hasn't even been in place for 3 weeks. And we have to sustain through the next 4 years, you know, whether it's crazy, New Orleans, Destin, Pensacola, the entire South I live in Minneapolis and the South had like 8 inches of snow. I live in the Midwest and I have not seen 8 inches of snow. I've seen about 4 inches in a snow event. So I think it's wild. Weather is wild. Like, we live in the twilight zone right now. So again, I ask, what are you doing so you don't check out. I think that's like the goal, is to overload the system to get everyone to unplug, but not in like the healthy, like disassociate. I think that's the better word. I think that the idea is like, if you push so much shit down the pipeline, everyone's going to disassociate. And then what do you do with a population that's not engaged? You can wreak havoc. So I don't really know. In my own ways, I'm trying to find how can I help the people around me. I've been hearing this since COVID, but community is going to be so important. Community is going to be so important. And I see that now with the way that our world is turning, like finding your tribe, going to those farmers markets. You know, we can't shop at Target and we can't shop at, you know, Walmart and, you know, Amazon. Like if we're really moving our money to what's happening politically, it's like, baby, we're at Aldi's and Publix and Trader Joe's and yeah, y'all. You can hear that in a way I'm a little overwhelmed, overstimulated, just kind of trying to wrap my brain around some of these things that's happening. And we have just cleared the first 31 days of the year. It's kind of insane. It's genuinely insane. So I guess that's the point of my episode, is how are you doing? How are you faring? How are you checking in with yourself? And what are you doing? Like, what are you doing in this season to kind of help combat the chaos? Like, how are you in your bubble making a difference for yourself? Like, still allowing yourself space to grow, but not being overwhelmed by what's happening on a global and national scale. What does that look like for you? Is it fitness? Is it working out? I know the gym is a safe haven for a lot of people. But how, even outside of the gym, like how are we sustaining? I'm trying to spend less time on my screen, I guess, on my phone, but it's kind of hard to do that because I also use my phone for work as well. And of course, content. So, that's something I try to be cognizant of is using it for the things I need and for the things that I want as well, but also trying to be intentional. I think for me right now is like not going the traditional route with fitness, but trying to find like a yoga class or like hot. Oh my God. And what was that? OMG. Y'all, I don't know what's happening in here with these appliances. There's like not even a dishwasher in here and something's happening. But, excuse me. And that's just raw. That's just raw, y'all. I literally came up here so that way it would be silent and there's appliances acting up. But yes, there's more things that I could say. There's more things that I could get into, but I genuinely think that's like my first question is like, where are we? Taking a pulse check. Like, where are we? How do you feel? Kind of acknowledging the good and the bad. And we haven't even talked about like friends and social circles and everything is changing. People are changing. Our relationships are changing. Like our crews, who we hang out with, who we're connected with, again, like community, who is a part of your community. And I feel like right now that's changing. I feel like for me, I'm still 30. I turned 31 in April, which is fucking crazy. Where time is different. Time is moving at a different pace. Time is not the same. I know time is relative, but like it is not the same anymore. How things are happening, even in my personal life, it's wild. I've been in Minneapolis for a year and a half, and it feels like I still just moved here. I've been here for almost 2 years, and I feel like I still just moved here. I have not even really cracked the surface at all. And I guess that's a good thing. But y'all, it's like wild. It's wild. And we're constantly being pushed to like evolve, even in spite of all of this chaos, even in spite of like friendships in your communities like changing up, despite like government policies and politics and what may be happening at your job, in the field, in your industry. I feel like we're still kind of being called to evolve, to be aware of self and your part in the entire collective. I know that's kind of like esoteric and maybe like meta, if you will, but I do feel that like we are living in strange times where truth is stranger than fiction. Like we're living in a twilight zone. And so I don't know. I want to be able to share tools, share ideas, things that can help us move forward, to like lock in and move forward. And I think that will happen as the episodes continue to come. But y'all, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. All of what I've asked, continuing to evolve in spite of the chaos in the world, that is not easy. Which brings me to this. I think that all of us, not only for others, but for ourselves, should be having radical grace with ourselves. We no longer live in the world that we grew up in. And that really kind of first fell with the Twin Towers for a lot of us millennials. But we no longer live in the world that we grew up in, that our younger siblings grew up in, our nieces and nephews. It's not even like, I mean, there are kids only being born today. It's 2025, and there are kids being born today. It's wild. It's wild. We live in a completely different, I feel like, timeline. And I hate to keep saying some of these buzzwords, I guess, but I guess I want to like encourage you, lift you up, let you know that there's merit to still being here. There's merit to still standing here, still trying, still fighting. I feel like a lot of us, in some way, some of us have wanted to like just completely check out. And life, God had other plans, and we're still here. And I think that we have to make the most of it. And there are people passing every day. So many notable people, and people whose names no one will ever know, passed in 2024. 2025 is still snatching them up. You know, people are still being called home. And there are people who are being called home, and there are people who chose to go home. You know what I mean? They, you know? My 27-year-old brother just passed in October. 27, I'm 30. I have a 27-year-old brother who just passed. And it doesn't make sense to me how someone so young can feel how they felt. Like how a light like that is gone in the twinkling of an eye. And leaving behind a world of people who are now forever changed. You know, I don't know. I feel like a lot of things have happened to me lately that have just not only made me more aware, because my entire life has been that way and been a lesson, if you will, but I feel like I was living beneath what I was supposed to be doing. And even now I'm doing more, but I know that I have not reached the highest echelon, the highest vision for my art and for myself. And myself is my art. I think that's a huge revelation for myself. But yes, not living in the highest vision. And I think that for some of us, when you're not doing the thing that you were called to do, it literally eats away at you. Not doing the thing or the things being the person that you were called to be, that you're supposed to be in this life, I think it's kind of like anguish. There's kind of some pain and something eating away at you. And it's hell. It is literally hell, having the knowledge that you could be someone, that you can be someone, be this thing, do a thing, doing things, and you're not, because God honors your free will. So because you choose not to do something, God is going to honor that. But I feel like you, as a human being, you know that you're not moving toward that thing, or actually trying to become that thing. And I think that it eats away at you. And I definitely know that for years it ate away at me. I needed a break. I needed a huge break in a moment to kind of like collect myself and kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Unpack a lot of my shit. Because I had just been going since high school, college, and just nonstop. And I think that my Florida era, for those of you who know me living in Destin, Fort Walton Beach, shout out to the 850. But I kind of had to like go through some, like stop and kind of like go through some things. But I know that even then something was eating away at me. And I think that anguish and that pain inside that artists feel because of them not doing their work, I feel like that is God's invitation for you to get out of hell. That is God's invitation for you to come up out of that darkness. That anguish that you feel for literally being there, that is an invitation into a higher echelon for you. And I think that you can either answer that call and just go and figure it out along the way. I'm doing it right now, and I don't have everything that I think that I would need, but I'm doing it. AC running in the background and all. I need to find a better space to be able to record my podcast, because I thought this was pretty sound insulated, and it's not, but that's okay. I'm working through it. I'm still here. I'm still committed. Not everything is going to be perfect. But I still have to try and still have to do. And I think that as long as we're getting those quote unquote invitations from life to be able to come out of something, to do better with something, to try, I think that we owe it to ourselves to meet that invitation, to meet that opportunity, to meet that feeling. Because what's going to happen is what I also know to be true, and you don't have to choose to subscribe to this belief. But what I do believe is that God does not need you specifically to get his will done. God does not need you specifically to get his will done. God can use anybody, right? Pharrell says that all of these ideas that we have are not even ours. Thank you, AC, for going off. He says that the ideas that we have come from like this cosmic library, if you will. And we're all just kind of checking out these things. We're just checking at things that have been given to us. And it is our job and our due diligence to be able to bring those things forth into the material, because it could pass from us. Sometimes we've seen stuff or thought about stuff that, oh, that would be a great idea. And then sometime later you see it out in the world. Yes, that's because it was yours. It was yours. It was yours to be able to bring forth, and you didn't. And it may have passed from you. So I'm not naive enough to think that it only is me. It can't be accomplished without me, because, it can. Absolutely, it can. For sure. There's a running joke that Michael Jackson used to say that when he got an idea, he would go ahead and do it and record it because he didn't want it to pass to Prince. Which I think is hilarious. But Michael Jackson would like push on an idea because he didn't want it to pass to Prince. I think that's kind of funny. So yeah, I know I've kind of covered a lot in this short time, but again, I guess all of this sums up to like, how are you? Where are you now? Like, are you okay? Do you feel like you're moving toward the highest and best vision of yourself and your life? If not, is it something that you even want? Because I think that if it's what you want, then it can happen. It can happen. It can be yours. And again, I think that humans don't understand how powerful we are because we have free will. Because we are sentient and have free will. We're not dogs. We're not cats. You know what I mean? We have so much available to us. And sometimes I think that traveling, and I talked about travel in the last episode, but sometimes I think that traveling out of your bubble shows you just what you have and maybe what you don't have or what you could have, what's available to you, what the possibilities are. Getting out there in the world and seeing things always is a humbling experience, and sometimes shows me that I'm sitting on my ass. I could be doing way more. I get hustle culture. I get that. Just kind of handling business and doing the thing. But it's kind of getting out of your normal spaces. Going to do something so you're not just going to work and home all the time. I know it's still winter, but go outside, touch some grass. You know what I mean? Touch some grass. Fuck. Anyway, we'll have a more streamlined outline for next episode, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in, for listening in. I want to give you a little bit longer of an episode, so thank you for allowing me to kind of share my stream of consciousness. But these are just some things that have just kind of been sitting on me and weighing on me, and I could have started this or announced this because my goal was to kind of just, I guess, just do a finished product, record a whole season's worth, and then just put it out. You know, but I think that kind of takes away from the journey. I think a part of me just always wants to be able to skip to the journey and get the destination. I want to be able to play, but I don't want to watch film. I want to be great, but I don't want to practice. You know what I mean? And I know that doing it that way, putting out a finished product or whatever the case is, yes, requires work, but I think that it mitigates transparency and it mitigates, visibility. And I think that we're all kind of being called to grow. And I think that just for myself, I can't be afraid to do that in front of other people. I wish I could be cool. I wish I could be the mysterious kind of guy, the one that you see in the back of the room at the bar. Like, I wish I could kind of be, chill, understated, my laugh not be too loud, like just something that I guess just kind of draws in curiosity. But also too, I'm done like wishing to be someone else. I'm done wishing away the measure that I've been given. And so a lot of where I'm at right now in 2025 is just being radically myself, being myself authentically in spite of everything else. And if people love it, that's great. And people will gravitate toward that energy. And as I continue to do this, I know that I will find my community. I will find people who I was destined to meet. And I'll let go of the people and the things that aren't for me as I pursue radical authenticity. That's obviously going to shake up a lot of the things and people that are close to me, and I think that's okay. I have held off on doing so many things in life because I was so afraid of losing things and people. because I felt like I had lost so much. I wasn't able to hold on to a lot growing up. So I feel like the reverse of that is like you try to hold on to everything. You hold on to all your friends and you hold on to people and experiences. And I think that you never inherently lose those because you found it here. You have those experiences here in this lifetime. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I'm just kind of over compromising myself. I think I'm over compromising myself. And I think you just kind of have to get to a point of being tired of being sick and tired. Truly. And so that's where I am. So, this is Kari. Love it or hate it. I'm not the hero in everyone's story. And that's just a part of the human condition. And that's something that I have to accept. And I think like that's okay. That's been a hard pill for me to swallow, but I think that's okay. Anyway, I can wrap this up. I love you guys so much. Thank you genuinely for the support, for the kind words, and for the people who, especially I guess, for some of the people who have been on this journey with me for like the past decade, in and out of content, in and out of media creation, my filming and freelancing and supporting me when I was freelancing for film content, for photo shoots, headshots, people who watched, some vlogs back in the day, all the way back to when Kari's Corner started on Snapchat. When Snapchat finally got like multiple stories and you could like hold the button down and it would play through. And it wasn't just like, when it was like 10-second like clips over and over. Some of y'all have been rocking with me for so long and have given me the space and the grace to kind of evolve and grow. And I think that was a part of kind of my journey. Like, where am I now? And what is the most authentic way that I can express myself to try to build a bridge of communication and understanding and community? And I don't know, I arrived here at this place. So thank you to those who genuinely have shared your kind words, your thoughts, who are voting on my stories, and just as support in a different way. You guys don't have to be here with me, but you are, and I'm forever grateful. As of right now, don't know what we have in for episode 3, but it'll be here soon regardless. So I guess this is Kari signing off of the Kari's Corner podcast, Kari's Corner, the podcast. I have to workshop that. I have to workshop my outro. But anyway, I love y'all.